Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast, the show where business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals share their stories, lessons learned, and powerful strategies for building relationships and growing their circle of influence. With Melissa Taylor, your host, each week we'll bring you actionable insights to help you build a better network and a better business. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Network Build Grow podcast. Miss Jackie Benjamin is with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Melissa.
Yeah. So first, before we get started, tell me a little bit about We Assist Marketing and really also tell us why did you start it as well as what it is?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what it is first is, so we do outbound social media management for home service businesses. So we focus on the trades. So for example, HVAC, plumbers, home remodelers, and we do your traditional social media management. So we're creating posts, captions, and posting and scheduling, that type of thing. But we're also answering comments and DMs for them, for any customers that are asking questions or prospective customers that are asking questions about the business. And then we're also going out there and liking, following, and interacting with content on other businesses on social media. So for example, businesses that might be good referral partners or collaboration partners. Those are the ones that we're looking at first to start building those relationships online so that when there is work to be had, we've at least started some kind of relationship if it hasn't already been started in person. Mm-hmm. And then secondarily, we like to go to our local businesses and do the same thing. So our dentists, orthodontists, chiropractors, because most likely their audiences have homes. And we'll need some of these services. So we want them to see our clients out there commenting and being active in the community. Mm-hmm. So that's what we did to get us here. We didn't start off doing this. So a lot of my career has been in IT consulting, and the company that I worked for just before this, starting my own business in 2019, was very purpose driven. So there was a lot of thought and care put into creating jobs in places where there weren't a lot of opportunities, but there were a lot of jobs. So I saw that modeling of a purpose-driven company and decided that was the type of business that I wanted to start. So when we started with our mission that still is to provide jobs for women so that they are empowered to change their lives, we started as more of a virtual assistant business where we were doing everything for everybody. And it was very wide open. And then very quickly decided that we didn't want to do everything for everybody, and then morphed down into more marketing. And then when COVID hit, we really started doing more and more social media management for people who had really been ignoring it up to that point, and then couldn't go in person anywhere. So that's really what started us down the social media path. And then we just started working with more and more home service businesses. And I realized that was a place we really could be effective and help some of these businesses because they don't have time, they don't want to do it, but they do need to be out there. So that's how we got to where we are today.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you actually really hit a sore spot that people put stuff out there on social media, but they don't interact. They don't answer their DMs. They don't go out and comment and interact with their strategic business alliances. So you're actually helping these small businesses while they're out doing what they do. You're actually networking for them online.
Yes. And I always say that. I said I always tell people, and it really resonates, that social media without doing engagement is like going to a networking event and standing in the corner. It's great that you're there, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. That's wonderful. So you are helping these small businesses network online, and that is an incredible value to them because they're out cleaning the carpets, doing the plumbing, doing all of these home services that they don't have the time to do the posts, to answer the DMs. And with that's customer service. Like people who direct message a home service company, they want to answer back immediately or they're on to the next one.
Yes, 100%. And that's so important. And there's all kinds of reports and statistics around how fast you answer comments and all, if you're not answering within the first 24 hours in general, that you're losing engagement. And you're right, for home services, it's even faster because they want to know, do you service my area? They're asking you for a reason. They want to hear you.
Yeah, they could have a leaky faucet that's all over their carpet and all over the place, and they need somebody to respond to them quickly.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. So I have known you for years, and I guess I didn't realize the depth of how your business has changed. I mean, I've watched you go through the change of
Right.
being virtual assistants to social media and moving more into the home service based business. So it's been fun to watch that. And just this added element of it is incredible.
Yeah, and I've appreciated your support along the way, of course.
Yeah,
it's always
that's
been
been
great to have a
fun.
friend to talk through some things with.
Well, we always talk about how when you start a business, you have a small business, it can be lonely. Right? It can be lonely because you're here doing this kind of by yourself, maybe with a small staff. But even if you have a small staff, you're the one in charge. And so to have a network of people around you that are kind of walking that same path is really helpful.
Yes, it is. And that is one of the great things about a group like Network Build Grow.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is a powerful thing. Okay. So when you started your business, you said that it's purpose driven and that you wanted to make sure that you provided jobs for women specifically. What sector were you were talking about women, but I know that you also do some stuff with some women in kind of different countries that struggle with income. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so one of my team is blended. So we have a small team, but we've got one person who is in Guatemala, and we've got two people in the States. I'm about to bring on a second one in Guatemala. So and especially what I learned in the last company I came from is that there's a lot of great talent everywhere in the world. There's not always opportunity for them. So what I wanted to do is bring some of that opportunity to the talent as opposed to the other way around. Because, if you think about leaving everything, leaving your home, people don't always want to do that. People don't want to leave, always want to move for a job, especially to another country that maybe there's a lot of different cultural things, right? And so I wanted to bring that to where the talent is. And I found some just amazing people there.
Yeah, there is great talent all over the world. I actually have a girl that does some of our marketing in the Philippines, and she has a master's degree in marketing. And she's in the Philippines, but she's wonderful. And so I completely agree with that. So, okay. So looking back, what is one key lesson that you learned kind of on this entrepreneurial journey? What's something that you can kind of tell our audience, something that you learned?
Yeah. So I think one of the key lessons I learned is don't be afraid to fail. So that's how you're going to learn. And it doesn't necessarily mean your whole business. Like it might be a little piece of something that you're doing, but if you're always trying to be so perfect all the time and get it right all the time, two things happen. You either don't put anything out or you don't do anything because you're waiting to be perfect so you don't fail, and then you don't learn anything. So I think, I'm a perfectionist. So, I go into a lot of things that have like everything has to be exactly right and perfect. And I remember a long time ago in my career, somebody had told me I did a presentation for them and she ended up passing it on to a higher up person. And I was like, oh, that wasn't ready to go. And she said, Jackie, sometimes good enough is good enough.
Yeah.
And I hear her voice sometimes and think, all right, just get it out. Just get it out. So I think that's part of like, don't be afraid to fail. Just sometimes you just have to put something out there.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you just have to take a step. Somebody said it to me the other day. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, you're learning how to fly the plane while it's already in flight.
Yeah, 100%, right?
Yeah. That's can be scary.
Yes.
Yeah. It can
definitely.
Yeah.
Exactly. Pieces as you go.
Right. Exactly. So how has networking played a part in this journey of what you've been doing?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's actually been a huge part for me because it's where a lot of my business comes from. So I'm an extrovert. So networking is not necessarily something that is difficult for me to get out there and start meeting people. But what was interesting is really honing it in, like learning how to networking is about meeting people, but it's just not about meeting the people, right? There's a strategy to it. So what it's done is help my business figure out like what is the strategy, who are the people that I need to be more intentional with along the way. How do I build those relationships so that we can work together, we can bring each other businesses? And networking has brought me a lot of business and built relationships that I would not have had access to if I didn't have that networking opportunity.
Yeah. So it's interesting because we talk to a lot of people that are introverts and they're like, oh, it's just so difficult for me to go networking. But it's interesting that introverts, when they do network, it actually works out for them really well because they're very intentional about who they meet and they build those relationships. And extroverts, honestly, sometimes they're all over the place and they just meet everybody and then they end up not getting fruitful relationships out of it. So talk to me from an extrovert's point of view. How do you hone in and make sure that you do? I mean, you just want to meet everybody and you can talk to everybody and right? And so how do you make sure that what's a good extrovert strategy for networking?
Yeah, that's a great question because everybody always thinks extroverts, like that networking is so easy for you. But meeting the people is easy for us, right? The networking is a whole different strategy, a whole different piece of it. So when I walk into a room, my first thought is like, oh my gosh, all the people, I got to meet them all. But and that would be fantastic. But for me, the strategy is that I really need to be, especially if I'm going to a conference or something like that. And when I network at a conference, I have to be very intentional with like, okay, so kind of have the Strive five list of the 5 people that I want to make contact with and go a little bit deeper while I'm there at the event or the conference, and then take that to another level, take it offline, if you will, and have a one-on-one or something like that. So for me, the strategy for an extrovert is almost like a rein it in strategy, where an introvert might be saying, okay, I only have to talk to 5 people and then I can go home.
Yeah.
Where an extrovert is like, talk to everybody, hone in on the 5, build a little bit of a deeper conversation, and then continue it in another time. So that is really the difference, I think, and the challenge for an extrovert and a networking event. Because
otherwise you could be very surface level with a lot of people, and that's not going to help.
Who did I meet? I feel like you don't know anybody.
Yeah. Now, how do you go about building that? What does that next step look like for you? Is it a series of one-on-ones? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so for me, it's one-on-one. So it's like reaching out to that person and getting the time together, and whether it be on Zoom or in person, just depending on where they are, of course, and times and all that kind of stuff. But now Zoom is just such a great option that it's just as easy and effective as being in person. But it is the one-on-one personable. Let me learn more about you and your business so that I can help you with something, or I can refer you, or maybe one of my clients needs your service, and really, just kind of having that meeting and being intentional about it is really my next step to build a relationship.
If you network for your business, you already know follow-up is everything when it comes to growing relationships and driving success. But here's the thing. Most of us want to follow up well. We just get stuck. Staying consistent, keeping it personal, making it stand out, it's hard. That's why I use NetEffect.io. It makes follow-up simple, cuts through all the noise, and helps me stay on top of every relationship without dropping the ball. I never miss a follow-up, and honestly, my network wouldn't be the same without it. So check it out, NetEffect.io. And right now, you can use promo code NBG50 for 50% off of your first month. NetEffect.io, your secret weapon to unforgettable follow-up. Can you think of a specific example where networking has really made a big impact on your business?
Yes. So I have a great example. So the first year, I'm a member of Women in HVACR, and the first year I went to the conference, they have a newcomer reception. And it was all about networking. It was about getting to know other people, and they put us in 4 corners of the room based on some categories. And so I went to my corner, and I was standing next to this woman and turned to her and I said, "Hey, I'm Jackie Benjamin, and my company's business marketing, blah, blah, blah." And she says, "I'm Deb Thompson." And we started this conversation. And what I didn't know is that she worked for a marketing agency who specialized in the trades. And I have a meeting Thursday from a client of theirs that they're referring to me. So I built that relationship, and I was kept in touch with her, and we met at other things. And then I met her colleagues, and then the next year, and we went out to dinner, and I continued to build this relationship, not just with her, but with her colleagues and people in her circle, in her company. And I have a number of clients that have come from them directly. So that was all about networking. I mean, that's what they put us in the room to do. And that was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
We still have that relationship.
Yeah. It's so important to keep those relationships up, and it's important to nurture it. Like you said, it can take a while, maybe she gave you a client early on, but maybe it took 6 months or 8 months to get that first one. But once that happens, then the dominoes can start falling and you start to get more and more. So wonderful example, wonderful example. So what would you say is, you meet somebody and they're probably not a client because, maybe they're not in the home services, but they're probably somebody who might become a good referral partner for you. What's one way that you provide value to them so that you kind of stay top of mind?
Yeah. So, I'd like to try to help with, like, if they need help with their social media, or give them some kind of social media tips, or, what's going on what's going on with social media these days, that they might be able to help them if they're, if they're either struggling or if they just want some help with their social media. So maybe sending an article if it's relevant to their business. Just to kind of stay top of mind. And then, of course, making sure that we're keeping on, touching base every once in a while, so that whether it's, even just to check in and like, hey, how's it going? Hope you had a great holidays, or, just having that personal check-in with them, as opposed to, it doesn't always have to be a one-on-one, but that's always a great idea too, is every, so often to do that, just to see if anything's changed in their business.
Yeah. How do you keep track of all that?
So I use a CRM. I use Go High Level for that. I used to use a one that was the lead tracking, or networking tracking, but now I moved everything into my CRM. So they have a certain tag in my CRM.
Good.
For networking, and then, kind of keep track of them there, have all their information in there, and can send emails out of there if I want to send more, like bigger tips and tricks or something like that. But depending on the relationship, if we've been, if we have a deeper relationship, then, I'm probably texting you.
Right. Right. Yeah. And a lot of people prefer that, right? So some people prefer text, some people prefer emails, some people prefer phone calls. How do you find out which they prefer? Like, do you just ask?
I do. I just ask them, I think it's so funny when people ask sometimes, like, do you text? Like, does anyone say no?
Yeah.
but I like the like, what is your preferred method? Do you want me to email you? Do you want me to call you? Do you want me to text you? Because you're right. Like, everybody is different. And some people are like, oh, I don't even look at my emails, or, oh my gosh, I can't even take all these text messages. So I just ask them, what's the best thing.
Recently, I've had a lot of people direct messaging me on LinkedIn. And I do go out there once a day. I don't live on social media. That I don't. I have a team that works on our social media, but I try really hard to go out there once a day and check my direct messages, because what I'm finding is that's becoming more of a place where people are trying to get a hold of me.
Yes.
So it's interesting. Yeah, that's kind of a shift.
Especially with networking. When we're at a networking event, right? We're usually, if we're connecting with each other, we're digitally, we're connecting. It's just so easy.
It's so easy.
Our code, you let somebody scans it, you get on there, you are your connection, right? And so, and then I find the same thing is that people that from networking events oftentimes will reach out to me, DM me on LinkedIn, because that's how we've connected there.
Yeah, and then I'm always trying to get them off. Like, I'm trying to get them over to my email. I'm like, hey, email me over here, because I just don't check that as often. But that's just me. But there's other people that's kind of where they live. And so that's where they want their information. Okay, so let's do a few rapid fire networking questions. You ready? First thing that comes to mind. What is your number one conversation starter at a networking event, a live networking event, other than, so what do you do?
Right. That's a great one. And like introducing ourselves. So it might be something that I see that they have a cool, something of clothing, glasses, shoes, pen, notebook, something I've noticed that's unique to them, that when I'm in front of them, I can say, guy or girl, right? Can say like, oh man, I love your notebook. Do you like, or what? I love that planner. Tell me more about it, or something like that. Like something that's about them, but isn't necessarily like, so what do you do?
Yeah. I love that. Okay. One last question. How do you turn a casual conversation into a meaningful one? Like, if you feel like you want to go deeper and that they're kind of keeping it casual.
Yes. I think you start asking more questions, and then stop talking. And I think what you'll find is the more questions you ask and the less you talk, the deeper you're going to go in that conversation, because then the other person is going to see that you're interested in them. You're not going to give up some information to somebody who doesn't seem interested in you, right? Like, you're just not. It's just going to be very surface. But if that person is asking you questions and then listening to you, that means something. And so I think that is what makes a deeper conversation, is just ask a question and be quiet.
And be quiet. Yeah. I always say if you talk less, you'll learn more.
Yes.
And that gives you so much more information to follow up with. And when you leave the event, right? You leave the event and people always ask me, how do you follow up? What do you follow up with? Well, if you listen instead of talk a lot, then you have a lot of information to follow up with after you leave.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're listening hard enough, you're going to find something you have in common with them.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Or someone you can refer them to or connect them to, or a resource or something.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Well, I have loved this conversation, Miss Jackie. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day. And I hope to see you very, very soon.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Network Build Grow podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur or professional. And of course, if you're not yet part of our community, visit networkbuildgrow.com to connect with us. Until next time, keep building and keep growing.